Yeah.
You're good.
Okay. Like to call this meeting to order, dated April 9th, 2024. It is now 6:01. Roll call.
Julie call.
Michael Cornelia.
Corey Griffiths, and we have,
Robin
Kessel.
Kissel. Via Zoom.
We don't have any guest speakers, right? No. Look for a motion to approve the agenda.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda for tonight's meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approval of previous minutes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the previous minutes from last month's meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. At this time, open the floor for public comments. Anybody got anything they'd like to say? Going twice. All right. Committee updates. The budget committee.
I just gave you guys a, little graph again. I'm gonna try and do this every quarter, so you can see what our spend is. The green dotted line is 2024. It's been added. So just so you know that it's gonna come every quarter. I could do it every month if you want it every month.
I don't think it's necessary every month.
Yeah. Quarter's fine. Yeah.
Okay,
What do
Anyways.
you think, Robin? Once a quarter?
Was it just whenever she does is good with me? Did you send that via email or how did you, did everybody, I don't think I got a copy. Or did I?
yeah, Donna printed it out for us. I
That's
did it
good.
Yeah,
We'll just need to make sure this gets attached.
yeah.
Appreciate that. Yeah, she's got a packet for me. I don't have it with me, so she's got a packet for me when I do get back.
Okay.
Anything else, Julie?
No, just that the spend is way down from the last 2 years, so that's good.
Very good.
I like this. Thank you.
Mhm.
Recreation?
I guess we could just talk about going and visiting the rec center right now, reviewing the estimate for getting it back up and operational. So we just completed that before this meeting. Other than that, no further updates.
And personnel, which I have nothing on that, but, speaking of committees. Eric? We're gonna get them on a budget committee or personnel committee or?
Yeah,
Chris.
Me,
Chris, sorry,
Chris,
not Eric,
yeah.
sorry. So you're on the budget committee?
Yes.
Well, your budget and something else.
Personnel, I thought. Yes. Filling that gap for Steve.
Yeah,
We can update the agenda with that. All right, moving on, report staff, district manager.
Thank you. There's a report included in your packet. I'll touch on a few items. First of all, the Survey Monkey. Survey here, familiar with Survey Monkey? Yeah. Okay. It actually is, some of its lower end offerings are pretty rudimentary. If I don't get any pushback from this board, I would like to invest in a 1-year annual membership for their premier annual membership. That's $1,428. What I'd like to do is a community survey. This is a really important tool for gauging what your citizens are wanting in this district. And especially now since you kind of pared back what you do and you're back to the original construct of your service plan. Roads, water, sewer, recreation. The thing I like about SurveyMonkey is everybody in the district has an account number. So everybody has to pay a bill once a month, whether it's roads, water, sewer, whatever it might be, right? Everybody's got an account number. We can download those account numbers into SurveyMonkey so that only one response will come from every household in the survey. Then you can do crosstabs which is, I believe, really important. For those who don't know what a crosstab is, it's kind of a sub area of information. So we can say, okay, for people who have lived here for 10 years and we have this household income, what's their feelings on putting in swings or putting in a basketball court or something like that. So you can really kind of gauge, get down to the nitty gritty of learning what your citizens want as far as living here. But I think this should become an annual thing. And I think doing it online is the easiest way to do it. Paper is hard to manage. And you can leave this open for a month if you want to, if you're doing a survey. You just leave it open for a month because they can only participate once because everything is based off of their ID number for billing. So if there's no huge pushback on that, I can go ahead and do that.
I have a question because I did use it. It was not probably the version that you're using, and you checked into the reporting of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so it can do what I used was horrible.
Yeah, no, I'll do good reports.
Okay,
Okay, I have one thing I want to talk about is the budget schedule that I've attached.
Hey, wait, just time out. Could we ask one more question about the Survey Monkey?
Sure.
You said something that everyone could get in there once, they can only have one vote. Can they change their mind about things that they voted on differently? Can they go back and change that if it's open for like, say, a month?
That I don't know. I don't know if
Okay.
they can or not.
Okay.
I don't think
thank you.
so.
I think you're closed off once you do notice the vote.
It's not really a vote, it's just asking your opinion of a matter.
Yeah, it's polling data.
Right. Just a question in case they answered it the way they didn't want to and wanted to go back if it's still open and it counts or not. I wasn't sure. So I don't know. So thank you.
Okay, budget schedule. So July 31st is when we have to have our audit for fiscal year 23. Sorry, I said fiscal year 24. It's got to go to the auditor. August 1 through 15, I'm going to meet with senior staff, go over some of their thoughts. We've been having conversations almost every week, and some budget stuff comes up. But I've been telling them kind of keep a list, keep a thought in your head about what you think your department's going to need. August 25th, the county assessor is going to send us the assessed valuation. That usually stays the same. They send it twice. We'll get another one closer to the approval of the budget, but that's when we find out how much the assessed value is and what you're going to get for your property taxes. September 1, week of, have a budget board retreat. I would prefer that be probably about 4 hours minimum. I've usually had them on Saturdays, have a working breakfast and try to get out of here before noon, but we can have whatever works good for you guys. It's about a 4-hour thing of going through what we brought to the table, what you guys bring to the table, have the conversation. We try to flesh out what's important and what goes on top of the budget lines.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I thought was that just for last year?
What?
The budget deadline dates?
Yes.
were in interim?
Yes, that got moved for 1 year only. So yes, everything now is back on the old schedule, which means December approval. Okay, so by October 15th, state statute says I'm supposed to have a budget proposal to the board of directors. Usually gets there on that October meeting. And then November, we'd have a budget public hearing. December 10th would be an adoption of the budget. And then by December 15th, we'd have to get the certification of the mill levy, everything, the county commissioners. And then by the end of that month, everything needs to be in the hands of DOLA. So that's a general timeline that we're working with. And it's a timeline I've used often before, but it allows staff to have a conversation. Staff has a conversation with you. We take all the information, go back, write a draft, come back, look at the draft, the public hearing, then we approve it. Okay. Wildfire Community Preparedness Day still going on, May 4th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. I did put out a request for qualifications for IT. Our IT person is now in Texas, and it's very hard to get stuff done, and we need help on some stuff. And then the invoice cloud issue, as we've been keeping you up to date, we have written a letter to Invoice Cloud from your attorney, and we have not heard back from I would like to get out from underneath it.
Yeah,
Any questions?
no, I'm glad you're doing that for Invoice Cloud.
Thank you.
Director of Administration. You're muted.
All right, we cleaned up the non-utility revenue spreadsheet for the audit. We pulled para and payroll reports for the audit. We obtained copies of leases and interest paid in 2023 for the audit. Contacted vendors to update names on invoices. Processed one new hire for the ROM department. Updated emails from customer portal into Cassell. We entered the budget into Cassell, ran preliminary financial reports. I reviewed those financial reports with Guy, created a new disbursement report. I attended 2 weekly director meetings this month, I believe, 2 payroll runs, daily payment entry, transcribed previous board minutes, meter reads and monthly billing, continued file retention, real estate and title request, updated trash fob information, 2 check runs, account payable, and website edits. I would like to give the public a reminder, there are 2 public posting boards over at the mail stop. FLMD will start to clean those out monthly to provide new space for consistent posting. We want to remind people to not post on the mail stop itself or the mailboxes. We want to urge the public to use those public posting places. Like I said, we will be cleaning the boards themselves monthly, but FLMD will make an effort to remove flyers or business cards or whatever that's posted on the mail stop or the mailboxes themselves. Do you guys have any questions?
No, I'm good.
I had 2 things for her report. One is, as I'm watching her grow in this position, and with Barb, I'm seeing that it's becoming routine, which is what this position is. So this date payroll comes out, this date reports are done, this date, water billings go up. So there's a routine and a definite pattern of this, and they're getting into that. And that's where you want them to be. So I commend them for that. And then for Shauna specifically, she has completed her 90 days probationary introductory period in this new position. And she has successfully completed the Accounting 101 classes that I wanted her to take. And so she has gotten her raise, and that'll start her next full pay period. And she's doing good.
Good job, Shauna.
Thank you.
You're fired.
You're out.
Good job.
Thank you.
Anything else?
That's all I have.
Water and wastewater.
Alrighty, for the month of March, we produced 3.7 million gallons of drinking water, and we treated 1.8 million gallons of wastewater. Most things this particular month were what I would consider sort of normal with regards to the reads that we did with the meters and the amount of meters that we ended up replacing. It's usually between 3 and 7 meters each month. So that those are getting replaced either because of the meter failure or the ability of it to communicate with our reading system. Which, as you guys know, we had an antenna problem that's been rectified. Thank you for letting us borrow the antenna, Corey.
Are you just replacing meters as they fill, or are you looking in the future to do a meter replacement program where you do, say, 1/5 or 1/4 or 1/3
At this
of
point,
it?
at this point in time, we're probably looking at around, just as things happen each month, around 30 to 40 a year, just as they happen each month. We received a meter order that I have, and we have 45 meters right now that we can use for that. We're discovering ones, a lot of the ones that are having failures are over 700,000 gallons, which is good. You know, some, we had one on Saturday that is 1 million that is gonna get put on the list of things to do now. 1,000,001 through that one. So, as far as like, getting the meter program, replacement program is kind of flushing itself out. I don't know if we're gonna have enough staff to do a full quarter or 1/5 a meter replacement per year. You wanna hire a couple more guys? We could probably handle that. Just ask him, man. Telling you, man.
Excuse me, not a kid.
We completed all the monthly testing that we normally do. As you guys can read here, we had an exceedance. And if you've read the exceedance letter, you know it's primarily due to the temperature and the failure of our bugs to be able to do their thing below about 50 degrees. So, we did insert our aerator back into cell 3. We're waiting on the mixer lower units still. They haven't showed up yet. We're hoping to get those hopefully in the next 3 weeks. In which case those will go back into cell 1 and we'll be partially back to getting that thing to normal. I've been bugging Guy about one of these budget things, which is a better cover for that cell 1 to help retain heat. We don't have the money currently. So that'll be something you'll either see on the budget or I'll be whining about throughout the year.
How much is it?
About $45,000 for what we want to do. For that particular one.
Are you looking at getting those balls?
Yeah, and they have an R8, installation factor on them. The ones that we have now, I think, are maybe an R2. And there's not quite enough of them to actually cover the entire cell. So we're hampered there. We will be doing a repair on the blower system at some point after that process returns to being functional again. So we will have lots of things going on this summer over there with respect to trying to get that thing back to where it needs to be.
Recording
Let's see here. Got the regulation 85. I just actually sent that in today. Started to register for some of the trainings that are available here. Next week, we have some on the 17th and 18th that are taking place in Bayfield, which it's actually nice to have a few trainings in our neck of the woods as opposed to the Front Range or Grand Junction. The big thing probably for this last month for us, as the water wastewater side of things, is getting 2 grants submitted to CDPHE to help us try to get a better handle on this PFAS that we have in our aquifer and what steps we can take forward once we better understand what's going on down there. Whether it could be the potential of some new wells that maybe are not detected with PFAS or very low detections versus treatment. Once you go down the treatment road, it's a forever thing and can be very, very expensive. We may not have a choice. The EPA is going to push those regulations down, as I understand things, in the next 1.5 years, probably, which means they'll hit us in about 2 years. CDPHE will have to implement that. So if we're over it and we're violating, then the state will put us on a compliance schedule of what we're going to do and when we're going to do There won't be much say from anybody else other than the district engineer on how we're gonna deal with it. So these grants are important for a couple different reasons. Primarily to get a handle on what's going on and get our next step identified. We feel like we're ahead of the game with this. We think that the people at the state feel that way too. We know several of them by name, even Guy knows them by name now. So we're doing what we can to see where we need to go with that and try to make our drinking water as safe as possible. That's the goal. So, I started this last month also identifying our manholes and trying to get a handle on how many we have, what the condition of them are, where our ion is coming from. This year, as you guys know, since you live here, is a pretty light year. We've identified a couple that are already seeping and wet that I would qualify as needing rehab. So you're going to see requests from me in the future for more money. Because you can't rehab them without money and it's pretty expensive. Well, you'll see requests through Guy from me. Don't blame him, it's me. Requesting money. I don't know if you guys read through the exceedance or if I need to go through that with you at all. You guys.
Through
I understood.
the rest, what do you got? What's that?
The exceedance letter. This goes out whenever you have an exceedance, sometimes called a violation.
Yeah, I missed a
Bottom
page.
portion of that.
Yeah.
You're warming up over there now, right? Somewhat.
We are at 48 degrees, which is touch and go. It's kind of like this next week, I see that we might have some temperatures that are getting up there that will help things out. We'll probably turn our aerators on 24/7 to take advantage of that warm air and try to speed things up. There's not a lot you can do. I mean, we are experiencing some INI, so some of that water is very cold. That's making it into our system. And that can extend things. Last year, it helped us because it was so much that it actually diluted it. But last year was a big year. So I can't predict what's gonna happen. I think we're gonna have I think we're gonna probably violate the water in another month, maybe two.
Well, I can predict what's gonna happen.
So you're talking about money. Have you read this FDA letter from Ann Terry?
About the training for the.
Well, it's about grants for
Yeah.
sewer and
yeah, it's
everything.
training, so-
Yeah,
Oops, sorry.
so,
Apply for it.
okay, all right. We need to get him some money.
That's all I have unless you guys have some more questions for me.
No, thank you.
Is there a lot of money in that grant program? I mean, is it a long shot or
We're
taking for them two
situated.
grants?
For the PFAS one, we're very well situated.
Okay.
Gosh, we met with them 3 or 4 times. We sent, 2 drafts down there, phone calls, watching our drafts.
Oh, that's who he's talking about. We got to know him pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so literally before we sent it down, we sent them a draft version of it to have them review it.
Yeah, yeah.
No, it's been very productive.
Where were we at with the lead and copper?
It's still in the hands of the contractor for the state. And I'll call them and ask them, I'll give you a call once I find out. They're doing a lot of their work, through records searches. And trying to identify through the building permits and whatnot, what exists in the ground there. So I'm nervous about it. It's sort of out of my hands because we allowing them to do it, so it's different not being in control of that. So Not that we have the staff to do it.
Anybody else? Questions? Daryl?
All right, so for the March, we, couldn't patch the hole in the leak truck, a leak in there. It's very rusty. It's probably gonna be something that you're gonna see in next year's budget item. Probably a poly tank to put on that leak truck, so that we can get rid of that old metal tank that's we've repaired several times. I don't know how much more it's gonna take on repairing. It's pretty corroded. Service backhoe, skid steer. We had to replace the passenger fuel tank on D1, our dump truck. It had a hole rubbed into it where the straps holding onto the truck. We were able to get one from a salvage yard, off salvage yard. Replaced the lowering cable for the wing on P2. Trained new employees on driving water truck and backhoe and skid steer. We fabricated an air gap on the water truck. As requested by the water department. Inspected and serviced D2 for summer operations. Get it ready. We called in locates for these boils that were on Alpine Forest, and the other one is on Buckhorn. I did replace this one up here. It's gonna take time to dry out. It's gonna be spongy for a little bit until it dries out. It was real wet. We possibly even had a spring down there, so we put a bunch of 3-inch in there to try to channel that rock off into the ditch, or that water, excuse me, off into the ditch. So that we can keep that water, or keep it from building up in the road. We opened up the head gates for Lake Simpatico. Added bentonite, worked it in a few spots. There's a lot of water. We're losing a lot of water in that ditch. We do have it pretty close to getting there. It's almost to almost to your lake. We've been going around sloughing potholes. I know that there's still a bunch that we haven't got, but between opening up on the loop and trying to keep the potholes down on the loop and grading roads, that's a full-time job. Sloughing is where we temporarily fixed it. It is not a proper repair, but is the only way. The only way to repair potholes is to cut down below the potholes, grade, compact the affected area. We only have one grader, so doing roads and trying to do potholes at the same time, it's not possible. So what we are going to start this year, we're going to do 1 day a year, probably on Fridays, go around, try to grade potholes out on the loop roads and other side roads if the loop roads are good. So we're complete with the loop, and then we'll start repairing side roads from there. We'll be off with sloughing efforts. Dropped off one tote for using motor oil for a burner in the shop. We marked 15 dead trees for CCFM. They've cut down a total of 12 of them right now. We're waiting on the okay on one. It's kind of in the middle of our property, and it's on the borderline of our property, or our right of way, and our residence right of way. I haven't been able to contact the homeowner. I'm not even sure if there's anybody living at the residence right now. So that one we'll probably have to wait on. Another one we're waiting for. The county is going to help us out with directing traffic, because there's a potential for it to fall into the county road. We're going to absolutely try it and get it on our road, and then they're going to have rigging and everything else to drop it on our road. But just in case anything happens, we're going to have the county directing traffic. We had another tree that's down here, and had a resident call and noticed it was marked, and she reported that there was a woodpecker living in the tree. that, is endangered or on the Colorado's endangered list. Department of Colorado has asked us not to cut down the tree, so we're gonna have to wait on that tree.
Has it been verified that this woodpecker's there?
No. Yeah, I haven't seen one. Yeah,
I mean, is the Department of Wildlife gonna monitor and see if there's a protected species here, or are we just?
We're going right now off the understanding the neighbor said they might. We called to see if we could remove the tree, can't. Now we're actually gonna, now we're at the point of verifying if there's actually something in the tree. If there's something in
Concerning,
the tree, we'll identify it. See if we can turn the tree down or not.
I have a question about the trees. Are there certain types of trees that get marked, or for, the reason I'm asking is the dead oaks by the mail stop or the bus stop? I'm really worried about some of them that have been dead for years, ever since I've lived here. Yeah, and the one by the kids' little sitting bench thing, whatever you wanna call it, the bus stop. It's leaning and they're oaks and those are heavy, and if that thing goes, maybe you could,
I thought last year we looked at these and these were all green down here in this zone right here, there was plenty of leaves. I mean, I don't know about maybe root rot or anything like that, but
okay,
this one hasn't bloomed. It did bloom last year, the one that is over there on Mountain Oak, but we'll definitely keep an eye on it. And if there's anything, I think we still have money for what they're budgeted for to cut down any more additional trees that we need to cut down for sure.
yeah, and if you could just watch them.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Sure will. Yep, all of our utility trucks are operational. All plow trucks are operational. Loader, skid steer, backhoe, and grader are operational. 0 accidents reported. Something I didn't add on here that we did add John Fox to our group. He's been a great help, great asset. Did a total of 1.16 miles of roads for March. We didn't start until 4/28/24. We didn't have the equipment.
4/28/24 or 3/28?
March.
He's optimistic.
3/28. And no gravel used.
And I will say that in his defense, part of the reason they're starting so late is because I figured it snowed in March. I kept saying, hold on, we're gonna get another snowstorm, hold on. Mother Nature disappointed me this year, so.
We
We
still
started 2
could.
weeks late.
Yeah.
It's Colorado.
Yes, it is. But now this time on the calendar, yeah, now this time on the calendar is less likely.
A little moisture gonna hurt something.
Daryl, is there a way that the one big pipe across the road that I talked to you about that's deteriorating and corroding away? Is there a way to put something up there? Because they're literally our car tires.
I actually just seen the one that you were actually talking about. I thought you were talking about across the street from there. Yeah, we can do something about that.
Yeah,
I didn't notice what you were talking about until I didn't walk on that side. I thought you were talking about the other
yeah,
side.
yeah, it's pretty deep and cars are
I
not
seen it
really
today when
paying
or
attention.
yesterday when I was driving up.
Okay, thanks.
Was there any, you said you removed a deer by simpatico?
Yeah, they removed 1 deer, 1 catfish, and 2 carp.
I heard the catfish one, but was there any sign of cause of death on the deer or?
I think possibly it was pretty scratched up. I think it fell in the ice and then couldn't get out of the ice.
Cause I've noticed another one there was the rear leg that was down to the bone over here by the speed sign. Now there's one with the front leg down to the bone. And I was just wondering if there's something similar going on where the snares or fences they're getting caught in or something. So that's why I asked. But,
Possibly, I mean, it was cut up on the leg area. It was
Yeah.
the front leg.
yeah,
Possibly.
cause this one was kind of down to the bone on its front leg, where the other one was on the rear leg. That was noticed by a bunch of people, but, so that's the only reason I'm asking.
Anything else? Moving on to new business. Resolution 2024-06. Okay.
Thank you. This stems from the discussion we had the last meeting about trying to get our hands around requests for use of district property. So this is something that Paul, the attorney, and I worked on. The application itself mirrors closely both Durango and La Plata counties applications for a temporary use permit. You can see we have 4 main categories and 1 other category, but if this is temporary sales on district property, temporary food and or beverage sales, large temporary special event, which is more than 200, or a small temporary special event, which is less than 200, or if there's another event. But I think by and large, we're going to see mostly food trucks engaged with this protocol. So if they are approved, if the approval takes place at the administrative level, a deposit can be required, proof of liability insurance is required, as well as naming the district as an additional insured. All applicable licenses will be required. Obviously, no open fires, no sale of alcohol or marijuana. And then the district manager has the authority to revoke or suspend a temporary use permit if the applicant fails to comply with the conditions of it. There is not going to be any real fiscal impact to the district. There will be a minor increase at staff time, but not, I wouldn't say huge at all. And then this comes with 23 conditions that they have to follow. So they're pretty exhaustive. From a deposit, like I said, a deposit of $100. They can't store items here in the district. They need to take care of setting up and tearing down a lot of the things that we found in the other use permit applications. The thing is we don't have a land use code to tie this to, which a lot of use permits do. So we tied it to the conditions, and that's why the conditions got a little longer. As Paul and I started thinking, what do we want to do? So we ended up with. What number was that?
Were there hours? Did I read something about?
All
hours?
negotiable. Yep. So no, there is no hours, but it would say on the application, proposed dates of operation, proposed hours of operation. They have to attach a site plan. We have to have contact information. We'll have a place where we can put additional conditions for approval if I deem those necessary. So everything is trying to keep it on one document.
So depending on what the event is, the hours would be associated with that. Okay.
So if somebody comes in and says we want to run it all night, probably get a no.
What is the recourse if they fail to comply? I guess.
Their permit is suspended or revoked.
Okay, so.
And that can happen immediately. No hearing.
So what happens at that point, I guess?
They're shut down.
What happens at that point?
If they do not move their trespass.
Okay.
So a permit does not create a use by right.
Yeah.
Right. The district has given permission inside the parameters outlined here. If you fail to meet those, the license is yanked.
Okay.
Or suspended.
Yeah. Oh, and that's the trespasses, I guess where I was going.
So if they
yeah.
stay there then they're on our property and we have every right to get them off. Hopefully
Sheriff's involved.
Yep, but out comes the nice law enforcement people.
No, and that's, yeah, sometimes you have to.
Yep. Hopefully it doesn't go that way.
No, for sure.
So that's, so I think you can use this for anything else that's kind of coming down the line as far as use requests, I think this can be massaged to fit all of that stuff. And in the future, you may think about charging non-refundable deposits or, fees or whatever you want to do. We didn't get into that. We just got $100 refundable deposit. But we figured this is a decent platform for you guys.
Yeah, it's a good way to start.
And you're looking for a motion for it?
Please.
I make a motion. Robin, are you okay? You have any questions on this one?
No, it's worth trying. If it's not working, then we'll stop.
Okay. I make a motion to approve resolution 2024-06, a resolution of the Forest Lakes Metropolitan Board of Directors allowing for the temporary use of district property and adopting a temporary use permit application form permit such temporary use.
Second. All in favor?
I,
Me too.
Okay, great, thank you.
Corey, before you move on, you have a question in the chat box.
No, I see that, and I'm gonna get to her in a minute.
Okay,
I don't know what happened with, not getting into 6:10, but is there any public comments on our discussion items A through C? Which would include the entry road paving and review of the GFL contract and rolling stock, and I know Bonnie has something to say. Bonnie?
Can you hear me?
There you are.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah, just two things that I brought up at last month's meeting, and of course it was too late. Just wanted an update on them. Two suggestions. One was, because I know there was something about food trucks, and instead of being down by the bus stop, why not have them in the lower parking lot of the old meeting building? We have all that space where several trucks could set up their stuff for whatever. That was my first thing. The second thing is because I'm personally getting sick and tired of people complaining about the roads. If they want paved roads, move the heck out of Forest Lakes, but that's my own opinion. But perhaps to satisfy or to let them get a better idea, to have representatives from asphalt, gravel, pavement agent companies come to your meeting and discuss the pros, cons, and expenses of paving and repaving and chip sealing and the old-fashioned gravel, which I love. So those are my two questions I just want to throw out there. And like I said, they were just suggestions. Thank you for listening.
Hey,
Bonnie
Bonnie.
Salona, 1472 Pine Valley Road. Sorry.
Thank you. Okay, entry road paving.
Okay. This is an issue that's continued from the February board meeting. So a lot of this has been driven by just my new eyes coming here, right? I know a lot of people lived here a long time. I know a lot of people want the rustic, non-paved atmosphere. No problem. But I was seeing, it says here that there's a total of 2,826 vehicle trips in and out of Forest Lakes daily. You took that number times 300, not even 365 days in a year, but let's just say 300. So that gets rid of weekends and spring breaks and some other stuff like that. You're looking at 847,000 repetitive turns. That is, I think, the largest thing that is creating a lot of problems for your at least entryway. So that's why I brought up to discuss with you guys possibly paving that. So since that time, and this was not solicited, the county got it. And by that we have a couple estimates, and if you have access to the internet, you can go on the Forest Lakes Metro District and get the board packet. You can see all this information. But the county contacted us and said, hey, we were driving by with the commissioners, we did our little tour, and we had mentioned the entrance to Forest Lakes as we drove past and said we'd like to help with the solution if possible. But theirs kind of comes to the caveat. We have our own paver and might convince the board to support our paving both aprons, possibly back up to 150 feet from County Road 501. If Forest Lakes Metro District comes up with a plan to make internal improvements that would address safety issues at the entrance, possibly like the attached. The bottom line is the county does not like your entryway with 2 ways in, 2 ways out. they consider that a safety hazard.
It is.
It is. That said, I pulled, all the state, police, accident reports from about a mile that way to about a mile that way, and there's not been one death or injury due to this intersection in the last 10 years or so. There has been fender benders, there has been people avoiding deer and going into the opposite lines of traffic, and everybody here probably has a story about when they've either almost rear-ended or almost got T-boned at that intersection. So obviously it's kind of a ticking clock of potential problems. But anyway, if the county's gonna play, they're gonna want you to make changes to the traffic pattern. Their attachment basically has one way in, one way out. The other attachment you got is the Google Earth. And the reason this is added is because each one of those colored points represents about 100 feet in distance. So if we're talking paving, 600 or 700 feet, you can see how far that goes. If you want to pave 100 feet, you can see how far that is. Right? So I think you've seen the cost. And so this question is, and the reason we brought it to you is, first of all, it's just something you think you guys want to address. And then second, when would you address it? Would you want to carve out money for this year, or would you try to put it in a budget for next year? This would be from the general funds. So.
Go back to the county here.
Sure.
If we decided to appease the county, which, we should probably play nice with the county. What is your time frame of doing this?
My guess is this summer. My guess is whenever we tell them. And we're gonna be involved with the county anyway if we're gonna tie into their road on that apron. So, I've talked to them about this. It's been months ago. My first month or two here, I met everybody, and I met Mr. Davis. That's correct. And he was adamant that the county wants something done with your entry. So, I see a couple issues. One is, do you guys want to have paved? And then do you want to cooperate with the county? If you want to cooperate with the county, they're going to want some things in return. Okay. But I think the discussion at this board level in policy terms is, do you or do you not want to contemplate paving your entryway roads? Not paving everything in the district, but at least a couple 100 yards where you have the most issues, where everybody's focused in, and you have the most repetitive events happening that are going to become more instead of less. Although you're running out of lots to develop here, you're never going to see less than this amount of vehicle traffic. So that's where I would start the discussion with you guys. I obviously put it in your laps of your thoughts.
I would like to see the entrances paved. There's a handful that don't want to see it paved, and there's the handful that want it. So it's a mixed bag.
It's paved current. There's a 50-foot apron down.
There is?
Yes.
It's
It's
garbage.
just busted up and torn up, degraded.
So, and this is, I guess, for the general public, I already know the answer. I know there's certain people that are attending that have strong feelings about this. Has this entrance issue been an issue for other items that we've approached the county for? Like, have they held this over our head?
Not officially, but yes.
How do I answer this? The county, the two issues that the county has with is unit 3 and your entryway. Those are the two big ones that they have that were expressed to me. So when I went to talk to them about a separate issue, as you guys know, I went and talked to them. I said, could they bifurcate the issues? They said, I was talking to the county manager. He would expect it would go to the board, county commissioners, and they would want to link them back together. I was very happy to see this just said, work on the entryway and not, unit.
Yeah.
So.
And not only that, not only to work on the entryway, but to have their involvement and their assistance accomplishing this project. I mean, yeah,
So are they only providing the trucks to do this, or are they helping with the paving and?
I think they'd be helping with the more by support, limited, paving assistance and might clean things up. We have our own paver and might convince the board to support our paving both aprons possibly back to 150. So they'd be doing the paving.
Excuse me, did you say, did you say we have our own paver?
No, the county does. Want me to steal it?
Oh, okay.
they leave the keys in it.
Yeah. No, they do, and so part of their offer, Robin, and for general public is, the public works would try to convince the board of county commissioners that when they were doing paving around the county, that they stop in and they do up to about 150 feet, of our front entryway. And you can see on the measurements I've given you, doesn't even really get up to the first turnaround, but it is where a lot of people queue. But the county will only participate if you, do what they're wanting to in adjusting the entryway. So it's the second? No, it's that one?
Oh, I don't know.
It's on the back of this.
Yeah, you got it right.
Oh, okay. I was hiding on.
Yeah.
So
Each one's 100. Like,
I mean, it seems like a no-brainer to me, but
Oh, each color is 100 feet?
Yep. So you can see 100 feet stops, 150 feet stops.
Oh.
So do I also hear you say that the county, the commissioners even, are willing to say pave the service road, pave Alpine, the entrances there, and they'll accept like traffic going, there's an exit area and an entrance area? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, the first entrance with the turn lane would be entrance only, and the one that's just past
Service.
the service road would be the exit only.
And the county has said that they would accept that and not make issues with the service
This is,
road?
this is what the
There you
Public
go.
Works Department of the county brought to us.
Unsolicited. They didn't know we were having this conversation. This is a rebound of a conversation I had with them probably 8 months ago. So they did not know you guys were actually having this conversation. It kind of came out of the blue.
So they would do that, but they would help us pave all of this?
You know, pave up to about here.
Okay.
We would have to be, if we
We
wanted
would
to
have-
pave this all around.
Well, I don't even think we need to go all the way up to here if we get the first 100 feet.
that's what takes your acceleration and de-acceleration. I mean, that's the rough of the road. We have to repair that 4 to 5 times a year.
Yeah, I'm not saying not to pave this.
Right.
I'm talking about up here.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. I mean, if that was fixed right there, that would reduce the way that the front entrance looks dramatically.
and save you a ton of work.
And a ton of work and running all around the mountain trying to do roads all over.
Only thing I see is like, this looks like it's just gonna turn, could be a cluster by the bus stop. It's like roundabout or something. I don't know. I mean, you got people coming down.
roundabouts. No, they're a nightmare.
It looks like a nightmare there.
Wouldn't paving up to here, I hear what you're saying, but paving up to here, they're gonna get even quicker, and then you're gonna have that accelerated area.
It's going from a stop to a start of that quick peel out.
Uh-huh.
That's what's affecting your roads 887,000 times a year.
That's why
And then
traffic.
turning in and doing that little skid. And then once they start washboarding, any acceleration makes your car jostle. And that's what exacerbates everything. Then you throw in moisture, dryness, all those fun things. And that's how you get a lot of your fun stuff near to it.
Yeah, we
It's
got a
great.
few of
Fun
those
too.
spots in Forest Lakes.
What'd you say, Robin?
I say we do have a few of those spots in Forest Lakes, not just at the entrance where there's the washboard and the potholes, and there's a couple other areas in Forest Lakes that has that as well.
yeah, coming up the hill by, what is that road? End of Alpine Drive,
Valley and
Alpine, right? Like going uphill past the lake there.
Pine Valley and East Forest.
Yeah.
So I have a question. because it was brought up on, I don't know, social media or something that Lemon did the chip seal on the dirt road and all the way to the lake. Is that cheaper than asphalt that we could possibly look into?
Yeah, but we're not looking at paying for asphalt if the county decides that they're gonna pay for this.
But we could continue it around where we have it. It would just reduce the cost of this stuff, right? If the county did 150 feet, it would take out because we've got 100 feet on these proposals.
Yeah.
No, I
that's-
understand that, but if we partner with the county on this, we only do this front little portion. I really don't see any need to do any more beyond that.
So how do you, I guess, marking wise? I mean, people need
You're gonna have
straight
to,
up signs.
you're gonna have to
like,
put new,
on the road.
new traffic control signs up, and you're gonna have to flag them for, I forget what it is, 90 days or whatever it is. And ultimately,
Have some sheriff out here doing a little bit of enforcement too, unfortunately,
until
This is
People-
Forest,
until it gets into the bloodstream.
this is Bayfield, Forest Lakes. They get upset over traffic circles. So a new traffic pattern.
I'm really upset.
and you know, another avenue too, to help, if we decide to proceed with this, is we can ask the county or neighboring communities that have those variable message boards, we can set them up too, like, hey, new traffic pattern.
Yeah.
You know, don't turn here.
We do a mailer, we do have to do a lot of things to get the information out. And you know, Bonnie brings up a good question here. What happens when the paved road meets the gravel again? So you're always gonna have that shearing off. But the difference will be, that'll hopefully be in a place where your vehicles are moving, not stopping and starting, which is causing a lot of your damage.
We have that now, anyway.
So the quotes that I read, one of them just seems kind of not true.
The quotes were designed to give you guys an idea of what this.
Okay,
Which quote do you have?
I just had, well, AJ's,
So there's two different proposals
Pat.
on AJ's.
AJ and Pat.
We got two options on one.
Yeah, AJ's has got for two separate options.
Daryl, you guys were saying you could do a lot of the prep work, right?
Yeah, we can do a lot of prep work. Absolutely.
So we
See, and
just
I'm
be
not,
paying for them to.
I'm not a fan of that. If we're gonna hire a contractor, let the contractor do all that, and these guys can continue on with other projects.
Well, the price for PAP was included with us doing the prep work. So that's not an accurate price if we're not doing the prep work.
I'm just for believer, if we're gonna hire somebody to do it, they do all the work while our guys can focus on other tasks.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So let me ask this, let me state this. I'm getting a general sense that you guys are okay with the concept of figures.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
At least to where the county says that they want it.
I for one say, let's proceed down the county avenue.
Now, this is just a suggestion from the county. This is not their
It's,
first last offer.
it's not set in stone.
It's a rendering, right? That is, as I look at this, I'm not sure, the only other option you really have, in my opinion, is shutting off the service road. And making the other entry a 2-lane in and out entry. And shutting off the service road, because my understanding is the service road was never supposed to stay this development to happen. Although on every map, you can see it labeled, you can see the property lines went up to it, so it's creating its kind of its own right of way, but I don't think the county even recognizes that as a legal right of way. So,
Like a morning would be a nightmare with one single entrance.
Yeah.
When this gives you the option, of, separating the two, opening up.
It's true, there's a lot of traffic.
I mean, I'm driving my kid to school in the morning and I'm telling you, there's some days where it's hell to get out there because if Vallecito people are coming, you're sitting there waiting. You know, if people are coming in, like it's just, it gets to be a tangled. And if you take out one of these entrances and you're down to one now, like that's a bottleneck to me. Like that's kind of,
But it should work better if there's an in and
yeah,
out.
yeah, no, absolutely.
Because you're sitting there like, which way is that guy going?
Yeah.
Turn, you know.
But like he's saying, if you just eliminate this service road to comply, like that's I don't like that idea.
But I don't see many other alignments that kind of what they're proposing or something like that nature shutting down.
So is this your limits of paving guy, or is this the county that did this?
That's the county, and it's an old diagram. I'm not sure what the years on this one. I thought I saw it data at one point in time, but it's not, I don't think it's anything brand new. Because I think this issue's been kicked around for a while. So I don't know if this got presented to a prior board or not, but you know, the county sent me this.
And but that's not what they're proposing to pave for us.
No. They're proposing to pay
just
about
this,
Yep.
150.
150 feet in is what they're proposing.
Okay, so let me understand, 150 feet, as long as we make an in and an out.
As long as we do something with the kernel language.
Yeah, as long as
They're
it's-
not happy with the kernel language.
Okay,
Their suggestion, at least I've seen, this is the only real picture I've ever seen. We talked about it, but this is something that they've put on paper and have suggested to us.
would the county, if this were to happen, the in and the out, put signs up, something on 501 that is, on the warning signs of, right turn or,
They
oncoming
would
traffic or whatever?
sign, they would sign it based on the standardized sign code. Okay.
On 501.
On 501, we would be responsible for signing the internal ones based on the same sign code, but yes, I would be happy over signage. My concern is, the public information part, getting that out to everybody
Yeah.
to know that these changes are happening.
Right. It's gonna be tough to get them to change, and I see somebody going the wrong direction because they're frustrated with the traffic or something.
Talk to Glenn, I'm sure he would be more than willing to let us use that sign on those.
With BMSs.
I would think initially the county might also want to mark the section between the south entrance and the north entrance and no turn reflective paint on the 501 itself.
Yep.
So we all get trained.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been here 22 years, so it'll take a little time for me to not turn into that north one when I feel like turning into it, so.
And yes, Chris, we would have to put up signs that say, do not enter here one way only, or.
It would take signage, community information, and enforcement. So there's gonna be a level of asking the sheriff's department to sit out there on odd mornings, or afternoons to, you have to pick off repeat offenders or let it know that there's a penalty for, if you guys decide to go through.
It would also seem like this area crossing over in front of the bus stop would have to be redone a bit to have the in and out
It seems like that.
directional.
I think we need to go all the way to these limits of paving, because that's just gonna be a lot of traffic in all that area.
So just a question, and maybe I'm wrong. It seems like I've seen like a yellow sign with the showing that the service road and Alpine are two roads that come from 501 on the county side. So I kind of felt like they acknowledged that it was a road there and that it was both ways. Am I remembering the right sign?
That sign you have on there, with us still utilizing that road, they have to, per the MU
NUTCD, you have to have signage for what's there.
Yeah, okay, so it's
If
there,
somewhere
but
it happened, we could go after the county or yada, 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 and
yeah,
end up in
okay,
a lawsuit.
okay.
But
Will they maintain that?
No, we maintain the streets that are inside. We get money back from HUF funds, highway user tax funds. Pro rata for our proportion, and that's added to the budget year general. 10 or 15,000 a year somewhere.
I mean, I kind of agree with Chris. I like the idea that the county would do it, but I kind of agree with Chris that maybe that we should consider paving that entire area.
It needs it.
well, I mean, we can't exactly.
That's a lot of money.
This wasn't exactly budgeted for this year, was
It
it?
was not.
No,
So we
Mhm.
approached the county, and if the county gets this portion done this year, right? We're fixing to go into our budget season, we can budget for this rest of this portion if we so choose to proceed that way, to get the rest of it done next year. Now we're not
Right.
pulling money in and having to do a supplement budget for something that wasn't planned for this year.
yeah.
I guess I'm confused, how much are these estimates, like, how far on this map are these estimates for? I thought it was for
First line.
the first line.
For the estimates, yes.
The
On the
red,
first line estimate, or it goes 100 feet.
oh, yeah, so
That's
there's
it?
the 100 feet. So they're gonna do this, we're gonna get this for free, basically, plus 50 more feet from the county.
If
Yeah.
It's
you
like a
make,
no-brainer,
if you made changes in traffic
and
patterns.
then we can gradually increase.
So I think my direction is let's proceed with the county
Mhm.
and get on their agenda or whatever we need to do. If we gotta go talk to the board
So my
of county commissioners or.
That's right. So the direction, and I'll restate it, but I'll put it out to you guys. For me to engage in the county and flesh this out. Is that a good place to start? And then I can come back and report in a month about where we're at on that. And if it doesn't seem to work, then you guys can have another discussion about if you want to pay for it out of your pocket. Or
Yeah.
the third option, I guess, would be is, county does some of it, and if we feel we want to do more, then that's a budget conversation we have in the future.
I mean, you're saving Daryl money right off of that.
You're saving portion. Yeah, you're saving. you
Well,
money.
yeah, exactly. Same thing.
Yeah.
Daryl's time.
So is that a good understanding?
Okay, I'm
Yes.
hearing one thing that the county will do the 150 feet at no charge to us, as I hear. But there is going to be a cost to us because we will have to communicate, signs, all that stuff. That's going to fall back on us, at least on the internal side, right?
Yes, it will.
Okay, and like Corey was saying, it was not budgeted for this year, but that will be an expense that we'll probably need to cover if we go with this as well. So just heads up on that as well. It's
Yeah,
not a
makes sense.
freebie.
Well, and in the future, you are going to have to address paving needs. It's gonna crumble, it's gonna crack, it's gonna do some things. And
There's maintenance.
So you're always gonna be dealing with maintenance too on any way that this gets paved.
I like the plan of talking to them and, bringing back the full plan. And then,
So I will engage with the county specifically on their offer, their plan. I'll come back to you guys with that more detailed and fleshed out. Hopefully with, if there's any cost for us, timeline, stuff like that. And we'll get your feedback and go from there.
And if it's a time sensitive matter for like the county, we can hold a special session.
And if there's could be clarification, like if they're chip sealing like 501, would this be included in that in the future? Since their vehicles are out there? I mean, it wouldn't, to me, it wouldn't hurt to ask because they're already offering.
At the very least, we need to make sure that we seamlessly integrate with their,
Yeah.
and so that is gonna take maintenance, and that's gonna be shared maintenance on both parts.
Absolutely.
The county will not touch our driveway.
No, they won't.
for maintenance purposes.
They're expecting us to take care of it, and they've dedicated the HUD funds to us as compensation.
Okay.
So they're not ever gonna chip seal in here. I'm actually even surprised that they came to us with paving.
So would it be chip sealing in here or would it be asphalt?
It'd be asphalt.
Asphalt.
Chip seal is just like
The coating for the
the,
top.
trying to preserve.
So chip seal is, let's go, consider this, surface treatment. So when you start getting like a bunch of cracks and all that, and it starts deteriorating, they'll come in and they'll crack seal it, and then they'll layer tar down, and then they throw chips on it, roll it in, and it extends your road life by like 7 to 15 years.
If you drive over here in your wheel wells for the next 45 minutes.
You get a new windshield every.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, you know, with the cost of maintenance for asphalt, crack seal is relatively inexpensive. But I can get almost 2/3 of Bayfield done with $40,000. And that's, I mean, you've all been through Bayfield, we got cracks everywhere. This little portion wouldn't cost $6,000, maybe. And it's not something that has to happen every year. It's,
Kind of conditional on the improvements that are needed.
Yeah.
Okay, I will engage with the county on this particular offer from the county, not this absolute alignment, but the discussion of changing our alignment, and they will help pave the entryway. And I'll report back in a month. Does that work for you guys?
And that's gonna help you
Thank you.
guys out a lot, you said.
That'll help you a lot too. I mean, on wear and tear on your vehicles and that front issues.
Yeah.
Hopefully they don't get like that the rest of the summer though.
Thank you.
moving on. Review of the GFL contract.
Okay, this is the trash contract. GFL is now Republic Services. Hey, that's editorializing. Say it louder. So our contract has a window in it, like a lot of contracts do, that if we want to get out of it, it's at least 60 days, but not more than 100 days, 180 days prior to the expiration of that. So the window of opportunity for the district to exit this contract is April 29th to August 29th. So I want to bring this to your guys' attention to see if you were cool with how things are working, want to leave it be. Do you want me to issue an RFP and take bids in from other potential trash service? That's probably your two, two choices, right?
I was gonna ask you, is it 485 for a full dumpster? That's it?
It was. It's went up.
Yeah, it goes, there's a automatic increase in the same.
But that's like a full dumpster. That's what they're charging you to take a full dumpster?
Yes.
That seems dirt cheap.
Roll off container, we get 3 of them on call, $485 per haul. And we got 3 of them.
It's going up 8% or something.
No, Phoenix is a lot higher than that.
Now,
We're at 627.38 a pool now.
627.
and how would you guys describe your level of service? And be brutally honest, because I tell you right now, I absolutely hate their service.
To be brutally honest, I called them and asked them about a pickup that they didn't come and bring us. And we were told that we were not high priority and that they did not have time to get to us. Was their exact words.
Recently?
Yeah.
Cause I know when the predecessor general manager was here,
This was 3 months ago.
yeah, something similar happened and they said, well, we've had other things going on and we can't bring you a thing because they're all full now or something.
As people are
3
bringing
months.
trash.
In the past 4 months, I've had 6 pools not pulled. 1 including this week.
Well, I could tell you that one this week probably didn't happen because the dumpsters are sitting in my sewer pump.
I think it's always And I think it would always be in the community's best interest to get additional quotes. Like if we can change providers, they'll do a better job for around the same amount of money. If we're having issues with this one, I think that's great. I think if we could save money, that's great. You know, I think it's always good to reach out. You know, when you get these transition periods, like you can.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it ever hurts to
Who
reach
do
out.
we have on? Do we have waste management, public service?
And then the gentleman brought us a flat.
Place that just opened up there on, off of, 160. Right.
All where TDO recycling works out? Is that the big?
Panda.
One?
Raccoon,
Panda.
yeah, Panda, something, yeah.
Sickly.
He just caught me at the gate. I didn't have a lot of time to talk to him.
He doesn't have big enough bins, does he? He does.
He's got 30 and 40 yards.
My understanding, we already have essentially a quote from Republic Service at $675 a dumpster. Let's reach out to the other two and see what they got.
Does Phoenix do residential?
I think Phoenix is more construction and recycle. Aren't they?
I'll send something to them considering that we're a full station basically.
Like you said, if you're just getting proposals.
Yeah.
It just means you can.
I actually forgot about them.
Okay.
I mean, they recycle it supposedly.
And especially with the new entity, you never know, you could lock in a good price, you know,
So let's go.
if they're trying to get business.
Request for proposals.
Said they would like to. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it ever hurts.
Are they, so basically that's a breach of contract. Are they giving us any money back on any of this that they're not doing?
They're giving them to us. They're just not giving us to us on time. Well, the one that we haven't got this week, I haven't seen yet, so I'm not gonna speak for that one. The other ones have been reimbursed. It's generally a couple of days. There was one that we did not have for, was it almost 4 or 5 days, almost all the way to the end of the week, which put a dampener on us on, obviously, capacity on the dumpsters. So, I mean, they've always reimbursed them. It's just never been, whenever, we could fit into their wee little time.
Mhm.
All right, let's go.
I'm sorry, that made me mad when they told me.
Now, with that being said, if we get a better rate, is that gonna lower the trash fee on the bills?
Shouldn't. That's a lot of work that these guys do.
No, I
with all
understand.
that.
The trash fee was actually raised based on the 485 a pull, Corey.
Okay. Thank you.
So everybody's okay with me issuing an RFP?
Yes.
If we get competitive bids, that will be, bring that back to you, and it does give us, more than enough time, to negotiate a contract and get it approved inside that window. We have until, second last day of August.
Would you like those for the next meeting?
Huh?
Would you like those for the next?
Probably not the next one, probably the one that, because we'll probably let it linger out there for 30 days and get the responses and everything. Okay, then I will issue an RFP. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right, moving on. District rolling stock.
Let's get it turned over to Daryl here quick, but just to preview this, y'all got a lot of stuff down there. Some of it's about as old as I am. Just about as good a shape. So we want to have a discussion with you about getting rid of some of this stuff and getting down to the stuff that you need to do your business. And that'll be the discussion. Turn it over to Daryl.
No. So you want me to read that? This page here?
Summarize it. Assume they read it.
So basically, we spent most of our winter and even this winter, and we didn't even have very much snow this winter. Constantly repairing the trucks. And I understand that plow trucks involve quite a good bit of deal of, constantly repairing, but the type of repairs that we're trying to do are, they're old parts, they're old trucks. The trucks, you can't just go down to the truck stop or truck store and buy the parts. They're having to be rebuilt, which takes time. So that means that vehicle's out of commission. Yeah, I mean, we have other stock down there in the yard. Those other things in the, budget that we were gonna do, like the excavator that we're not doing now. I think, with selling some of the material, I mean, some of the vehicles that we have down there that we're not using on a day-to-day basis and not using some at all, really, sit down there for months without being used. I think you could recoup that money for newer trucks that would serve better as a multi-purpose truck. Something that we could actually use as a multi-purpose truck. Actually haul gravel in, or haul material, or go pick up material, or haul, backhoe or skid steer down for repairs down in John Deere, instead of having to sub that out. But we can't do that with current.
A lot of or some of the fleets just parts for other parts of the fleet that they've been
Right.
scavenged so bad that
One truck is not on that. We just can add it to the park.
you scavenge them so bad. From my point of view, it's cutting down your rolling stock and investing in good newer equipment that is just gonna cost us general maintenance instead of having to be creative and having to send stuff out to fabricators all the time to make parts. Truck that passed out on the road this winter, that was a part that a newer truck we had to get it basically made.
Right after we sent out the towing policy.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
So, I mean, that's the nature of the rolling stock that you.
And all of these equipment right now is on our insurance, correct?
Correct.
So we'll be cutting down our insurance costs by getting rid of some of these.
You would, it'd be, I don't know.
I don't know.
It's a little above negligible and a little below your. But yes, you'll see it reflected on your insurance. But there's safety of your staff, there's your staff's time. I've, watched Daryl. Take your cap off. Because that's how much hair he's lost over.
I am all in favor to selling all these except for the 2023 that we just bought.
Keep them both.
I would like to wait on that one anyway, to see if we got the money to get the trucks. I really didn't want to.
And here's the other thing is, even though if we sell these this year, you can't spend that money this year.
Why?
The way, and Guy, correct me if I'm wrong, that goes into the revenue that goes into the bank or whatever for next, 2025, 6, 7.
We could spend it, we could just do something. If we decided that we wanted to spend it, we could do a supplemental. It doesn't have to sit. Yeah, as soon as we get the revenue in, and this revenue will go into your general fund. Now. Yeah, I think all of it's gonna go in your general. You don't have anything in specific water or wastewater. So that revenue can go into the general. We have stuff that are using right now.
The crane truck's not specific to sewer.
Right, truck hasn't been used, has it? Maybe
Not
that one.
much.
That one gets put in the enterprises, but most of them are gonna be in the general.
So there's only 4 or 8, excuse me, that would be sold except for this fleet plow truck T6. And that was one of the new ones we got just a month or so ago.
I know how it works in my arena. We have to have a public auction, like the public surplus or whatever governmental website. Is it the same case for us?
We could go through an auction house. I don't think we have to go on government auction, we just have to make it available to everybody.
We use publicsurplus.com.
Publicsurplus.com.
Online.
We can use that, that comes with a membership, the membership's cheap. Does it cost you guys anything? Oh, I thought it did. Yeah, we can use that, we can, put them out for closed bid, or we go through a third party bidding house.
I'm just not sure how it works in a special district.
That's my understanding, and I can double check that with Paul. but we would have to go through a process that's even. So whether we go through online, whether we do closed bid, envelope bid ourselves, or we go through a bidding house that opens it up for everybody, then I think that's your baseline is that equity.
Since on the topic of getting rid of stuff, what's with that big pile of scrap metal sitting down there?
Or we're gonna work on that this year. We were trying to get a roll off from Recla, but they're not doing roll offs anymore as well. So you won't do them anymore. So we're gonna have to haul it off.
Instead of Recla, what's that? There's another company in,
That guy said that they could do it. I talked to him briefly the other day. He went down there and looked at it and he said that he would need 240 yards to haul that off.
and we're paying them to take it off and
We're paying them to take it off.
what, salvage metal or something out of Cortez?
Originally,
Okay.
the regular told me that they would come bring it down here. We would just pay the $100 for them to drop it off. And then whatever was left would go into our.
So I
I'd
have,
like to get rid of that.
I have a question on the cell. What are we going to be purchasing, or what's the ask to?
Well, I mean, right now I haven't done any looking lately, but I'm sure there's more for sale now than there was before, but I mean, generally looking for, most of them have been around online, were around 50,000 or, like a 2017, 2016
Plow dumpster.
Wow,
plow with a dump, with a spreader, with, de-icers if that was the route that y'all chose that y'all wanted to use.
And we weren't finding a lot in Colorado, but like you can go up to Wisconsin, Minnesota and swing a dead cat at 6 foot.
And
I
So
haven't looked later, so there might be some now.
And you're talking about like the CDOT, the old CDOT type trucks, like that.
not too
size.
old. That's the
Well,
whole point.
but that like.
A
that-
larger, yes.
Not the like,
the other thing
550.
too, is I would not sell our snow piles until we had
Replaced them, yes. But you're gonna need, to get something like that shipped down here is not cost prohibitive. But if we did purchase something out of state, we've talked about this considerably. Let's say it's in Pequot Lakes, Minnesota, right? They've got one for sale. Somebody up there's got one for sale. We would probably contact the town of Pequot Lakes and talk to their public works director and say, hey, we're here in Colorado. We're thinking about buying this truck. Can you go look at this for us? Or can you recommend a garage, a third party that can go look and see if we're buying a limit or a good vehicle? So we put some due diligence into identifying these vehicles and having somebody there looking for us so we're not buying them. Because that's the last thing I want to do is spend $60,000 on a 10-year-old, 7-year-old plow truck and get it down here and it ain't worth anything. When we could have had a phone call and asked them for $150 to go look at it or do us as solid as a governmental entity and go look at it, something like that.
what about leasing for the winter? Leasing road graders, leasing the plow trucks.
I mean, while I was searching, I've never even seen anything for these plow trucks. I would imagine that there's a market for people, to put plow trucks out there. I mean, there possibly could be. I could look into it and see, but yeah, I mean, like I said, they do take a pretty good wear and tear.
I would own it and I would insure.
I've never heard anybody using a plow to
I'll definitely look into it because
it.
But a grader, are graders leasable?
graders are leasable, but graders do, I mean, especially like winters like this right here, if we would have been running the grader this year, other than the one time that we had 2 foot of snow, we would have torn a lot of material off the road.
I'm just wondering if leasing another grader would be feasible during the road repair time.
I would say that you want
Oh, dear.
a truck with a dumpster on it because you're gonna be plowing and dumping at the same time. Plus, you can use that in the summertime to haul other stuff
Okay.
as a dumpster, because we are gonna be putting gravel down. We do that all year round, stuff like that. So that's one of the things he brought up is we're looking for trucks that aren't as old, that parts that we can find without, having to go hire a spelunker or archaeologist to find them. And that have some multi-purpose. So we get a little more bang for the buck.
Currently, those trucks, they sit down there for, 4 months, 5 months that we have in summer, and they just sit down there. They don't do anything, but get older and more rusted and beat up.
So then the plan would be to sell what you don't need. For road trucks, get what you need, but then we'd still have a problem with, well, they would be snowplows.
Yes. Correct. That's what we're really looking for. So, to be honest with you, the trucks that you bought, the 550s, don't do it.
Yeah.
They don't have the guts. They don't have the guts, they don't have the width, they don't have but they are handy for doing
Intersection.
tasks that are required for snow removal. Right, so some of your smaller turnaround areas, your tighter areas, they're great getting in and out. But just trying to move snow up and down the mountain, they just don't have it.
But they can do the trash, they can do all that kind of
They do
stuff.
a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, okay.
But moving snow is probably what they're not the best at doing.
Have you seen the big plow trucks we have in town of Bayfield?
Mm-mm.
So that's kind of what he's looking at. So we have an actual dump truck, but we take the tailgate off of it and then we slide in a sander, put a side wing and a plow on it. And then in the summertime, we pull this stuff off and it utilizes a dump truck. So it's very beneficial to have
Yeah.
Using it all year.
versus what they got going on now.
Yeah,
Right.
right now you got a couple trucks that only come out during snow events. And you have a bunch of other trucks that are feeding them parts. Or just sitting there because we've got a piece that we can't repair, or it's cost prohibitive, or you have an antiquated rolling stock.
Yeah.
It would also help us out in summer operations as well, just because there's been times where we're doing roads and we've got 2 trucks driving it. I mean, round tripping gravel up into the very top of the back of Hilltop back there. And we're using both dump trucks, and then the water department need a dump truck for hauling off material, whether excavating water lines, sewer lines, all kinds of things. And we only have 2 dump trucks, so at this point, so if we had plow trucks that we could use as multi-purpose truck, then we would have an increased amount of vehicles that we would have plenty of ways to haul off excavated material.
Mhm.
Your operations cost should be similar, your repair costs should go down because you can actually, in time and material, because you can actually find stuff to repair. That's the biggest issue I've seen is the truck goes down and we're really making it up as we go. Because they're just old.
What do you think? I know you probably haven't looked into this yet, but just kind of ballpark off the top of your head, thinking we might get 50,000 out of all 8 of these, or
I'm
10?
not really sure,
I'm gonna kind of answer this for you. You're gonna be really surprised on some of the stuff that you auction, because people are actually looking for these old feeders. Like, we've sold some things that I've listed for 15,000 or 1,500, excuse me. And I've ended up landing 9 grand, 10 grand out of it. We've also put things on where we've barely scraped what we're asking for. Like the starting bid, if you will.
Mhm. Yeah.
So it's kind of hard. It just depends on what people are looking for in these public auctions. We sold a rundown. Should have just hauled it to a scrapyard. I listed it for $500 and we ended up getting 16,000 for it.
Okay.
It just depends on the mood of who's bidding and what they're looking for.
Yeah.
So it's hard to see if you go through the public auction process. Now if we go through public surplus or an auction site, you can put the starting bid and what the minimum
Right.
is gonna be.
And when we're selling these, we've got to maximize profit. So if we are gonna go through a third party, we need to make sure that we're getting money from it. So do we do it on our own and post on the website? Do we go through an auction house, how does that work? But we're he's made connections and he has some ideas how he wants to go. But I do need to get the most bang for the buck.
Yeah.
And the nice thing about, public surplus is the buyer pays the auction fee or the seller's fee, whatever you wanna call it. So
It's
it's
profit.
no cost to us really, except for whatever time it takes to put pictures and whatnot and fill out the listing. So.
Okay.
Well, for me, like, it's tough to see one of them on there. Less than 1,000 miles. How, like,
I think he said he was not gonna sell that one.
Yeah.
no, and
That would be a last.
but are we gonna recoup all the money that the community just spent on
Yeah,
that
you do lose probably not.
within a year?
Selling you can do.
And
Especially now.
to have, yeah,
No,
Yeah, that
that's
is
just,
frustrating.
that's what I said, I'm not for selling the 2023. Bought it, and like the guy just said, it's useful for other tests, it may not be very useful for plowing snow,
I mean, but it came in handy when that other truck was down, right? It was your only choice.
I mean, we've used it this year, yeah, but I mean, it takes a long time to plow those roads with that truck. I mean, just one road, you have to hit it 2 to 3 times back and forth. So I mean,
well, we don't need to sell it just because it sucks at pounds.
no, sure, I understand that.
We can take those off. It will address it later.
is. You guys mentioned, I think it was probably in that discussion about those trucks, that there was a state vehicle purchase program or something like that. Where, I mean, you got like a set price or something, was that, am I just making that up, or is there like a state vehicle program? Where like, where you can reach out there and find out if other counties are purchasing new equipment. Is there a program that would list a county's used equipment?
No, there's a couple of auction places that do that.
It would still be auction, there is no like internal Colorado, like, buddy
I-
program.
No, I know what you're talking
With builders. Govdeals.com is something like that.
I believe that Bruce was able to negotiate some sort of state pricing or something. But that was the purchase with the purchase of a brand new vehicle, Michael. I don't know if
Yeah.
those sorts of things exist for used or something like that.
No, and that's what I guess I'm trying to find out if, let's say your Ray is buying all new trucks. Like, where's their old ones going? Do they go just to straight auction site like you're talking about? If they're buying on a state program, is there any way to find that out to possibly see if their other equipment's coming out? If it's newer than ours, obviously, like 1987, or what are we talking here? Yeah, I mean, they're buying the new equipment, let them buy the new equipment, and how bad is their old equipment?
Yeah, I mean, no, that's absolutely the places that I'm looking at is like GovDeals. I'm gonna check the fire surplus and see what they have.
Telluride brings in a lot more money than we do.
Sure, and we had a drop on Pagosa that was gonna be letting go of some equipment, but then I guess, that fell through, but yeah,
Yeah, that's,
they didn't get the funding for it.
again, like, just the community bang for the buck, like, just making sure we get what the community needs for the roads, obviously, during the winter, for you guys to do it safely. I just want to make sure the community is taken care of.
I just don't want them broken down again like they were this year for you guys. That was frustrating for you. It's frustrating for the residents, yeah.
Absolutely.
So we'll hold off on the 550s. How do you guys feel about the plan writ large, moving without taking those out?
How long have we had those 550s?
9 months, maybe 10 months. I think they keep showing up after I got here.
Is there any way to give them back to them and have them,
Are there two?
after a year?
Give them up to, I don't think they buy it back. They've already been
Yeah.
Accessory.
Abuse.
Yeah, they've been accessory.
Yeah, that was the other thing. 50 grand worth of accessories.
So are we looking at trying to move forward with buying plow trucks
Yep.
this year?
Straight, yeah, I'd like to get it before the snow
Yeah, I'd
flies
like to get it.
for next season.
Yeah, other than
When we have that huge April snow, we won't have them, but next
And
year,
our general fund's sitting pretty well.
general funds are.
And you want 2 or 3?
3. That would give us a total of 4. We have 5 routes on the mountain that we do. That would give us a total of 4. The small truck did all right down here in the middle. It did pretty good. Up top where it was rough and there was a lot more snow. There was
Oh,
quite a
yeah.
few times
Yeah,
where it wasn't good.
I think we all understand that. So.
Get rid of
Go
those.
out
other
and vote.
stuff.
This was a discussion item, so I think we don't need a motion,
Yeah.
we just need, but we wanna get general.
Yeah.
We all vote. If I can make a recommendation, to all try to keep them, similar vehicles, so you don't have to, try to find multiple spare parts.
Sure.
There you go.
That'd be
Okay.
nice.
what is the blue one, the 93?
A similar fleet mission lot,
No, I-
easier on the maintenance side.
Yeah, and the time you, with one truck
Good
goes
idea.
down, then you can fix that truck. Sure, I understand.
Fix it, let's scavenge it.
Definitely.
This is
You got a hell of a boneyard down there, I know.
You got anything to say, Robin?
Well, it sounds like if there's equipment we're not using, then we probably ought to get rid of it. It's taking up space and maybe we can get a little revenue from it.
Chris had some.
Oh, I was just wondering if that 93 dump truck, is that something that can get a plow attached to it? Or is it?
93 dump trucks.
Yeah.
Uh,
the board-
Two. Sorry, I don't have that list.
It's the blue and black one.
Blue and black ones.
Well, that's what I'm wondering, is that something that a plow can be attached to?
Yeah, we could. It's a tandem axle,
It's not.
we could definitely do it. It would be sitting outside and it'd be a little longer, but yeah, we could do that. That's a good truck.
Cause you said you have a. Oh, okay, so it's the old state one that you'd keep up there, one of the old state, the 97.
Yes, P2 is, as far as parts is concerned, it's a good truck. It does have some problems with fabricating and I can fabricate, the new guy that we just brought on, he fabricates. I mean, we can do fabrication work, but we can't repair. I can't repair fuel pumps and rebuild it.
Put a blade on the 93, then you'd only need to get 2 more, so 3.
93?
The blue and black one. P.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, just an idea.
Thank you, guys.
Anything else on that?
No, that's it, appreciate it. Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion for check issues, March 1st through March 31st in the amount of 71,841.18 to be approved.
Second up.
Oh,
What is there? Two different ones here.
It's the report that says disbursement.
Disbursements, yeah, I've got that, but there's another one that says 71,913.18.
Sean, why don't you come in here real quick?
Okay,
Sorry, just caught that.
And then I've got a, finance report I'd like to show you.
Okay.
So the 71,841,18 is the amount of the disbursement. Back here, you can see that this is a little more because we had a credit in here. The disbursement amount was the first one here.
So what are we approving?
The 71,841,18 was the disbursement amount.
So where's the credit?
Whatever the other figure.
There's a credit right here of the $18.
Okay. So it just, should this be the same amount though as over here? Debit credit.
Don't believe, so this also includes, the GL ledger also includes payroll, insurance, those sorts of things. So this is what we paid out, was the 71,841,18.
Every second month.
Yes. Not including payroll because that's not included in the check register and disbursements.
Yeah, so I guess
This one will have payroll in it.
Right. So some of these accounts down here are payroll.
Okay.
Corey, this is a continuation.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense? So this is the actual disbursement amount. These numbers here have a little more than just the check disbursements. Does that make sense?
Got a motion, we'll wait for a second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Hi. Robin?
Go ahead. What was the question?
We're
I'm sorry.
approving.
There was a motion and a second made.
Oh, aye, yeah. I'm having a hard time hearing you there for a sec. Sounds like
Sorry.
you've got it all ironed out. So good. Yes, I agree.
Okay.
Excellent. I'll hand these out. You guys were getting so close on this finance stuff. My God, we're close. Let me explain what you're looking at. So this is the reports you're gonna get monthly. We're right now kind of 1 foot in the budget that you approved January and 1 foot in the budget budget format I've proposed. So what we're doing here is, first thing to notice on this report is the bottom says 25% of the way through the fiscal year. Okay. This report was produced today at 1:56 p.m. So when you look through, we'll go to the page 3, the general revenue. You see for the period, which is this month, we brought in $54,000. Year to date, we brought in $389,000 in property tax. We budgeted $682,000. So we have $293,000 that we have not brought in, and we're at 57%. So that's how you read this report. So what we did about 2 weeks ago, the staff has been coding everything with the GL code in the budget that you guys approved in February. Then we got that document that you see the yellow one right down there. Hold that up. What that is that's a conversion code between what the codes are that you approved and what the codes will be in the new format that you'll be approving once we get the audit substantially completed and we have beginning and ending balances, okay? So what we've done is we've added those lines into this report. So this gives you an accurate representation of the revenue you're bringing in and your expenditures. But when you get to the expenditure side, you're going to see a lot of zeros in the budget and zeros in the expenditures. That's because we haven't populated those yet with the new style that we're going to be bringing you. But the new style, the new format gives your department heads 100 or so more options to be more precise about where they're spending their money. Okay. So Let me go to page 5 as another example, recreation expenses. This is coming out of the general fund. But you'll see the first 2 lines, 5090 and 5098, the salaries and pension benefits, you'll see nothing's been spent out of there. But that's what we've budgeted to come out of the recreation expenses. But if you go down below, the 3rd line down, it says salary and wages. And the next one is overtime. The next one, vacation pay, then sick leave. Basically, those 8 or 10 is breaking out what the salaries and the pension and benefits would have been. So when you approve the new format of the budget, that'll all get collapsed, but we want to start showing you these reports. So in this particular thing, you can see in this particular page that we've spent 87% of this budget. So we look at that and go, okay, now we start looking about, well, where all these expenses come from. And that's how we can track down what we've been spending. The new budget that the new format that you're gonna be dealing with is just gonna have administration, for instance, on the general side, it'll just have administration and basically field expenses. It's not gonna be broken into a bunch of different categories. So, I know this sounds a little convoluted, but you're actually doing pretty good. Now, let me give you one last thing to look for. Page 6. Bottom of page 6, you have total administration expenses, total fund expenditures, and the net revenue over expenses. Your number one number that you're looking at here is total fund expenditures. That's everything that's been spent out of the general fund. And if you look, we're at 19.9. 25% of the way through the year, we've spent 19.9% of the budget. So when I started looking through these reports, that's the one I went to first, and you're fine in all of your general fund, your water fund, and your wastewater fund are all doing well right now. That's that bottom number that I look at to see where the fund is. Now remember, your fund at the end of the year needs to balance, needs to spend less than it's budgeted for or the same amount, but you can't overspend it in a fund. Inside the fund, you can spend over different categories if that happens. Legally, you're worried about the funds. So that's that number that I go look at. So this report you're seeing kind of, again, on that page 6, we see like halfway down, 10,900, 6210 conference seminars and trainings. You'll see there's nothing budgeted in there, but they've spent $805 total. In the new budget format that you're going to approve here, probably in 2 months or so, that will actually then have budgeted amounts in it. But we wanted you to start seeing these reports. You're now going to get these reports monthly. They're a little convoluted, we understand that, but we are really heading the right direction. The last thing that we're working on is getting the audit for 23 substantially concluded so we can get our beginning and ending balances, get them back in here. And then we're going to bring you guys a whole new budget to approve that has basically the same amounts, just a different format. And then you guys are off and running for the next decade. So while this looks a little convoluted, look at the bottom of those numbers for your total fund expenditures and you see you're doing pretty good.
So the wastewater fund on page 10, I think it was 12. Is 17% spent.
17.7. Yep.
Okay.
And your
But then you
25%.
have on page 17 also total fund expenditures, 21%.
For the wastewater fund, yes. Wastewater, okay, so you were looking at page 17 is the total fund expenditures of 21%. What's the other one you're looking at? Water.
12, page 12,
That's water.
water.
And
Oh,
then-
this is wastewater.
Then that's
Okay,
wastewater.
got it. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, your wastewater is at 21%, 21.1, 25% of the way through the year. And your water is 17.7, 25% of the year. And then, general, whatever that was up front. 19.9%, and you're 25% of the way through the year. So we have a conversation at staff level once a month about this. And there's a couple of reasons we do that. One is we can go through this, and so I can see kind of weird abnormalities and I circle them. And now Shauna can go to this general line item and find all the transactions in that. So we're not hunting and pecking anymore. Okay, we can go right there and go, oh, it looks like that one got recoded or coded wrong. We can take that out, recode it, and put it somewhere else where it's supposed to be in the budget. So at the staff level, we go over this budget, we're looking for that. We're looking for what we're spending and where we are compared to the month. And then if I see something like, wow, you know, that line items, you know, we're 25% of the way through the year and it's got 2% spent on it, but we have $100,000 budgeted in it, then I can have a conversation and Joe's gonna look at me and go, no, that's money that got set aside for a project and we're expecting that project to start in August. Or no, that's when we have this expense and that expense comes out in September. So we're now having conversations at the staff level about double checking the expenditures and staying in communication with each other about what our future expenditures are. So that's how the process we put in place of reviewing expenditures 5 and 6 times is in place. The money's heading in the right direction. We just have 2 feet in different codes right now, but we're on the way to, and it's working. Because I was really worried about the baseline numbers, and so we double checked those and we're good there. We're 2 months away from your budget being wrapped up and ready to go and able to be monitored and posted for the general public to see. A long time coming.
With that sense of optimism I'm getting from you,
Very optimistic.
how can we address like the water, wastewater needs in the near future that are pretty, you know, concerning?
Your number one issue is I see with both those is your revenue side of it. And that's an issue. That is that graph I showed you.
Yeah.
4 months ago.
Yeah.
That's just to get you up to par.
Yeah, you know, and that's why I'm asking if,
That's gonna be a hard enough fight. That's a fairly decent increase. I think it'll for just for wastewater. But this is gonna really help you get a hand on what you're spending your money on.
yeah,
So that's one of the first things you need to understand.
yeah,
James, on
for sure.
but you had a revenue issue. And it's most pressing in your wastewater because we did the Tabor things. Your general fund is looking really healthy, right? Revenue.
I just wish there was a way to get grant money to get what you need.
So a grant is usually, it's not for operations. It's always for brick and mortar. And they give you grants to fix. And it's not generally to buy supplies either, unless the supply is, for instance, what we're doing right now with PFAS. And so it's testing supplies or whatever they may need to accomplish that. But you don't get money for operations, you don't get money for salaries, you get operation, you get money for bricks and mortar generally when it comes to grants and when it comes to. So your annual operations are what you guys are gonna have to fund. And that's the conversation we're gonna be having. That's gonna be a tough conversation in a couple months when it comes to waste.
Yeah. We've got to have that by June.
Well, at the very least, you need it for when you raise your rates in September.
Yeah.
When that annual goes in, but yeah, it's a conversation you're going to have, you're gonna have your citizens involved in it, and it's gonna be fun for you guys.
Yeah,
Fun for
by June, I'm thinking that we all need to be thinking what we want to try and get to.
And there's gonna be, you know, I can see from my perch that there's diverging thoughts about it. But that's when you guys are gonna have to come to consensus.
Were you here when he did the Excel spreadsheet for everybody to review? And
Yeah.
Look at that, okay.
Yep.
But as we get in the main issue with the expanded, I call it my version, but it just puts in 100 and some odd more lines so that your staff can really dial in where they're spending stuff.
Mhm.
Because like we had one that was repairs and maintenance. Well, you know, that repairs and maintenance are 2 different things sometimes. They were getting lumped into one line. My version will break that out so that it's a little more detailed. And you know, they'll still find issues with it, and we'll amend a few lines in that one. But it's gonna get dialed in pretty quick to where it'll be the format that you're gonna use for a long time. Because you guys you don't do anything different, right? You guys have 4 things in your service plan that you do, you get good at them, and you gear towards those. So you're not seeing like a municipality where you have stuff going up and down all over the place. And grant money coming in for town, town halls and all that stuff. So we're getting dialed into where your whole system should work. They bought into it. I think Shauna's mastering it. I feel good about where you guys are going. It's not, I'm a jaded person that's been doing this a long time. So if I'm feeling good about it, I think there's something to feel good about.
Anybody got anything else? Last minute?
Additional comments? Or that we need to add?
Robin?
That was a
Nothing
silly.
more at this time.
Huh?
Nothing more at this time. Thank you.
That was silly quick. If you guys ever want to set a meeting with me and go over this in more detail, by all means, I'd love to educate you on this stuff. But eventually, these are the reports that you're gonna have on your website, God and country to see. No more hiding your money. It's gonna all be out in the open.
All right.
Cool, thank you.
Good.
Adjourned the meeting. It is now 8:02.
You need a motion or anything?
That's it.